3/25/18, National Weather Service. Critical fire weather in desert southwest and southern high plains. Active weather to develop over central and southern U.S. Okay, we're going to look at the radar. Look at this radar down here in Texas. Up here too, but let's look at it. The bigger version. Loop image. We like that. We'll go over here and down. Look at these circles. We'll get a closer view of that. You can see these obvious circles showing up here. Correct? I hope you can. Look at this one even here where these beams are coming out from it. See? Here's another big one into Louisiana. You see beams going back and forth between these radar. See, like they're having a relationship here. Friendly, very friendly with each other. And then we go up into the Midwest. Okay, so I'm going to move it fast. This is a unclassified document I found. The link looks really weird. See, that's what I'm going to be putting on below. Right, and I'll show you a couple spots in that. So this link, it says unclassified, is approved for public release. Distribution authorized to U.S. government agencies and their contractors. Administrative operational use, 21st of March, 1962. Other requests shall be referred to Army Ordnance Missile Command, Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. Authority, USAMC, July 1972. So then we go on down to where they're talking about let's move down because they're saying the government has no responsibility. The Effects of Radar on the Human Body by John Turner. So some of this says it's from the U.S. Army Ordnance Missile Command, Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. Sorry. Best available copy. Let's see. Resident AOMC Zeus Project Engineer. Okay, so I am going to move down and find something. Alright, this is what it says. The probable effects of radio frequency radiation on human body are discussed, and various published papers describing the effects of such radiation on biological subjects are briefly reviewed. The susceptibility of the head, the eye, and the testes to RF radiation is given separate coverage. Ionizing radiation produced by RF generating equipment is also discussed. The document draws no conclusions and makes no recommendations. Now in here they start talking in the history of, in both Egypt and India, people knew how to make use of electromagnetic radiation some 3,000 years ago. And it goes on to talk about that a little. And then in 1791, Galvani published some observations on frog legs. In 1936, this professor wrote something about attenuation of diphtheria toxin by radiation. 1908, Zyrnek grasped the possibilities of inherent in heating body tissues by the conduction of a high-frequency current through them. The therapeutic method, which he coined the name diathermy, his technique was to apply electrodes to the skin of the body. This was a rather ineffective method since the various tissues have markedly different resistances and consequently the heating was not uniform. But notice, heating is what happens when you apply radar. Heating. Okay? That's the main point I want to get to. There's a lot of information in here. Up here it says it has 93 pages. And I have to tell you that I looked through almost all of it. Some of it I just sort of scanned over, trying to find stuff that I wanted for this video. If you like this kind of stuff, you might want to look at it. It doesn't really talk about modern day information, but some of the history is actually horrendous about some of the things that they did to animals and people even to experiment with this stuff to find out information. So I'm going to leave it at that on this one. Now the next link is biological effects and health implications of microwave radiation. Symposium Proceedings, Richmond, Virginia, September 17 through 19, 1969. Department of Biophysics, Virginia Commonwealth University. Sponsored by the Medical College of Virginia. With support of Bureau of Radiological Health, U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, Public Health Service, Environmental Health Service. So on here, further down, they say, naturally you are concerned with a much broader approach than consumer interests when you consider the question of biological effects and health implications of microwave radiation. This is necessary and understandable. You cannot afford to be limited or parochial point of view. How did that happen? I read the wrong paragraph. But they're telling you it's very good to wonder. Alright, here we go. Thermal effects, where the microwave energy is converted into heat in living organisms. These effects can be macroscopic, where whole organisms or major portions of organisms are participating in heat transfer process, or microscopic, where cellular component, such as bound water, is vaporized by selective application of the microwave heating. Non-thermal effects are effects which cannot be directly explained by thermal equivalents. Unfortunately, the validity of most of the research reported as demonstrated non-thermal effects is highly suspect, and the author is hard-pressed to accept any results to date as being truly non-thermal. So in other words, the person that put this together is saying that they don't believe there is such a thing as non-thermal effects. And in the first paper that I showed you, they talked about how sometimes when they first did an experiment, nothing showed up, and then 15 days later something did. And this person explains himself a little bit better, just a little further on. I'm sorry. Whoa. If we accept that vaporization time of bound water could be as small as one pulse width, the so-called pulse nerve effects can be explained in terms of thermal effects. So they talk about skin depth effects, reflection effects, antenna effects. Conclusions from the data presented. It should be apparent that measurements made in situations other than free fields in the far field radiation pattern of antennas are subject to a great degree of careful evaluation before the numbers produced from the experiments can be translated into real hazard situations. So it is highly dependable on a lot of different things, is what they're saying. So here they're talking about the dielectric behavior changes shown with different frequencies of, up we go here for a minute, radio frequency radiation. depending on the frequency and as the frequency increases. So here's some more linear graphs, and as you can see, there is something going on as the frequency increases. Okay. Fatty tissue, depending on its water content. Now, the eyes, actually in the first page that I showed you, are the most affected, it seemed like, in the whole body because of what was in them. Okay, this is farther down on the pages, and although the pictures are horrible, you can't see anything really. This is what it says, Figure 9, and I cannot pronounce the name of this creature. Mutant eye spotted, induced by radiofrequency treatment. Normal is A, and wild type eye is B. Okay, they're showing you something that happened from radio frequency treatment. Okay, here's the link. U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. Epidemiologic evidence relevant to radar microwave effects. Abstract. Let's see, let me just go down. You can pause this and read it yourself if you want real quick. But there's much more on here, so check the link. I'm going down here. These findings suggest that RF exposures are potentially carcinogenic and have other health effects. What more do you need? Therefore, prudent avoidance of unneeded exposures is recommended as a precautionary measure. Epidemiologic studies of occupational groups such as military users and air traffic controllers should have high priority because their exposures can be reasonably well characterized. But up here, they talk about 4 types of effects were originally reported. Increased spontaneous abortion, shifts in red and white blood cell counts, increased somatic mutation rates in lymphocytes, and increased childhood testicular and other cancers. Increased childhood cancers. Yikes! I just want to throw in real quick also this book here that and a quote from it talking about electromagnetic radiation. Excuse me, and it's being used for processing vegetables. You might want to take a look at it. Okay, so here I am on the College of DuPage, and all these circles in these areas are radar. But the interesting thing is, this looks to be where the clouds are that are causing storms. And so why do they have these big circular areas with intense radar? Let's take a look at one. Now I don't have a lot of time, but I'll show you what I do. Click on Next Red Sites over here. See, I'll go right here. And okay, so it brings me to Houston, Texas. Over here I can put it on 48. If I put it on too high, my computer runs slow and it won't pick it up. So here's the loop. It's starting to show up on there. Now look at how far outspread that radiation is. And then I'll go to storm loop. Okay, and look at this one. Look at that. That's a lot of intensity for these people. Pause, read, turn back on. Here they're talking about an upgrade from just horizontal to horizontal and vertical. Dual polarization, partially so they can capture what you're doing. Radar send out electromagnetic waves similar to wireless computer networks and mobile. Combustible dust explosions. Aluminum dust can be combustible. Texas Air Force Base radar into Mexico.